Thank you so much for your time today. And I know some people have sent apologies. So if you're watching back the recording, thank you so much. I'm Sarah McCrack and we'll do some proper intros in a wee minute. But I appreciate your time today to take you through this presentation. So we've already dropped into the chat what it is you do. If there's anything in particular you want to know about raising your profile. So again, ask questions in the Q&A right at the end. Happy to answer about anything. But yeah, lots of really interesting businesses on board today from charities, individual consultants, the whole mix. But the principles of PR are the same for everybody when it comes to raising your profile. So if you're feeling a wee bit like this, what if you don't know where to start when it comes to raising your profile? I mean, I hear that a lot. Do you know? And again, there's a few key steps you can take to just take that next step forward when it comes to raising your profile, just to get that bit more confidence in what you're trying to do. I'm just trying to pin my video. There we go. Right, because it was covering my notes, which is not a good look. So yeah, so does it start familiar? I don't know where to start when it comes to raising my profile, and I do hear that an awful lot. And I'm assuming you're here because you want to become more visible. And again, there's a few key steps to take. I'm going to share three with you today. But first of all, I want to just tell you a bit about what exactly PR is, to try and sort of understand where I'm coming from. I mean, a lot of people think that PR is just sending out press releases, and I absolutely love media relations. I just love it. But that's only one element of PR. So you'll all be doing your marketing at the minute. You'll be on your socials. You may be making your audience aware of your brand, products, and services with a view to selling them. And advertising as well, it's bringing attention to products and services. So obviously billboards like this, bus hoarding, they're quite broad. People have to catch them, glimpse them as they drive past or while they're waiting for the bus. And obviously, you can narrow down then on social media targeted advertising as well. And these are really important elements of your business. So, PR is also an important element, but just in terms of how PR can help, PR is about your reputation. It's the result of what you say and what others say about you. And it's about cultivating relationships between brands and businesses and audiences organically. It really helps you build those strategic relationships between you and your business so you or your business. You could be the business or you might be in a business with your target audience, and that could be your customers, it could be your stakeholders, it could be investors, it could be trustees, the board, whoever you have observed as your audience, and just really then to help build or enhance your reputation. So you might be working for a company needing to raise your profile within the company, or maybe you need to raise your profile to move on to your next role, or maybe you need to raise the profile of your business. Maybe it's to secure more people into your next network, for example, whatever it happens to be. And when it comes to PR, I want you to think about all these different little credibility markers that you could potentially be using to raise your profile and get that trust with your audience that you really need to have in order to sell your product, business, or service. Because in the end, it's all about selling in the end. We're all business owners, business leaders. We need to sell to make money, or if we're a charity, we need to raise income to keep the services going. So think about media relations. Again, I love doing that. You've all got social media channels, your brand. You might be sending out hard copy newsletters, e-newsletters. You might have a blog. Sorry, my dog has just started to bark. Podcasts, crisis communications is a really good one to think about as well. I'm not going to go into that today, but obviously having a good plan in place for that is important. You might be doing some campaigning through public affairs, or you might need to engage stakeholders. So all these different things all add up to your reputation and your credibility. Oprah said it best, in the end, all you have is your reputation. And you've seen it yourself when it goes wrong on, you've seen the news reports. I mean, dare I mention any of the royal family at the minute, there's reputation taking a real battering there. Think about it on a more local level, if something goes wrong in the community, or maybe there's a fire, or maybe, an accountant, true story, maybe your accountant has been done for fraud. So reputations can take a battering. What I am very keen to do is work with businesses, small business owners, business leaders, to make sure that their reputation is as good as it can be, because you're really good people, you have good services, you have good businesses, and it's really important that we get those stories out there. So, in terms of myself, I'm Sarah McCracken. It is so lovely to meet you today. Thank you again for your time. I've been doing PR for about 25 years now, and I love it. I really believe that PR can change the world. I have led campaigns that have resulted in legislative change. I have, prepped really senior business leaders, business owners to go in front of political committees, to go on to, TV programs, The Nolan Show, radio shows. I've done it all and I love it. And I've worked a lot in the voluntary and community sector. So again, how can what I do make a difference? So I've worked with the health sector, I've worked with education, I have worked in nature and sustainability sector. And again, it's how can I use my skills to make things better? I have won some awards recently, which I'm really proud about. I can tell you about that if anybody's interested. I'm the CO3 Mentor of the Year. I'm also one of the top 50 independent consultants in the UK. But the bottom line is I want to help make a difference in the world. And now that I'm working for myself, I'm really keen to work with businesses who are aligned with that, who want to use PR better for their products, businesses, or services. Not going to keep you longer than an hour unless you've got loads of questions at the end. I'm going to give you 3 actionable steps so you can take right now. I am going to introduce you to Press, which is my online community, and then we'll do our Q&A right at the end. So you're in the right place if you don't know where to start with your PR, and that's really common. If you're worried about what other people will think, maybe you've got that bit of caution when it comes to your social media. You see other businesses out there and think, well, that should be me. And I suffer from this as well. I see things in the paper, I think, oh, I could have done something like that. Anyway, we need a plan together to counter that. And again, if you want a tried and tested framework to follow, I've done this for so long. There are some very basic steps that I follow in any PR campaign, and that is what gets the results. Again, you might be feeling invisible in your industry. Maybe you have a new business set up. So again, how do you raise the profile of that up? You're really good at what you do, but nobody seems to notice. We've a charity here today, a really great charity. Again, how do you raise your profile of that organisation to get the funders to notice you, to get the service users to appreciate you, to get more staff in? So again, you need people to start to notice you. And again, you're juggling the many things and need some support. That is okay. I spoke to somebody this morning, they're a drone operator, they're brilliant. They said, oh, I don't really know how to do PR. And I said, well, that's fine because I don't know how to operate a drone. I wasn't allowed to play with them either. That's another story. But you need expert support in different areas of your business, and doing PR and communications is no different to that. And again, if you want a really simple way to get noticed, again, I have the tools for that. What I have found when I have spoken to like literally hundreds of people over the years, there's some set reasons, there's some common reasons why they're failing to raise their profile. Like they just don't know how to get started. So there's no action taken at all, or there's a real scattergun approach taken. And like I include some of the big organizations that I've worked for in this, there's no plan in place. So again, people are just doing stuff and it doesn't really lead to anywhere because there's no structure, there's no funnel. So it's hard to keep that momentum going. Again, if your comms approach isn't aligned to your business planning, what's the point? Because you have some business goals and objectives and you need to align your marketing, your advertising, your PR to those goals. Otherwise, you're just pouring money down the drain. And again, there could be that lack of a structured approach to raising profile. And because of all this, you start to then miss opportunities. I've heard people say, oh, I missed out on that. I don't know what to do to get visible. And you do start to feel then like you've failed. But, it's not because you've done something wrong. It's just you don't have that structured approach that should be followed for PR. It's not just leaping to the press releases and doing a few bits on social media. It's about getting some foundations in place, and then your visibility will start to compound. So I'm going to cover these 3 things. Again, what's stopping you from becoming more visible, what's missing when it comes to your visibility, and actions you can take right now. So we'll do those 3 things later on. And again, my goal as well is also to demystify what PR actually is. It's very straightforward. It's not rocket science. And again, once you have that bit of confidence and understanding of the tools at your disposal, you'll be absolutely flying. So in terms of that, what's stopping you? I don't know where to start. I hear that an awful lot. You just feel really stuck then at square one. Maybe you've got loads of ideas, but again, you're doing all the things. So where do you actually put your focus? And again, talking to a colleague this morning, I feel like I don't know where to start. I just feel like I'm too small to do anything on that as well. So again, very, very stuck in terms of raising their profile. You might feel like you're making it up as you go along. Um, does sometimes feel like that when we're running our businesses. There's no right or wrong answers. But again, that scattergun approach of just doing all the things doesn't really lead to any real results. And taking action can feel really overwhelming, especially if you don't know where to start or PR is not your area of expertise. I talk to a lot of people and think, oh, that'd be a brilliant story, but they obviously just don't see that because that's not their expertise, and that is absolutely fine. So again, if you're trying to do all the things, you've got your social media, you need to go networking. Oh, someone says you need to put out a press release for that award you've won. It's so scattergun that there's very limited traction. Now, another one you're maybe thinking as well is like, I don't want to look like I'm showing off. There is a real fear of judgment out there. Who do they think they are to be doing that? It does happen. But again, this is about you and your business and your product and your service. And you need to have the confidence in it to take that step forward to then start to promote it. So I would encourage everybody to show off. In fact, drop it in the chat. What is one thing? What is one win that you've had this week, this month that is really great for your business? Maybe it's, actually getting your business launched. Maybe it's securing a grant fund. Maybe it is helping that one person with your product, business, service. Drop it in the chat and then we'll have a wee celebration later on. Show off. Um, yeah. Who feels sick speaking on socials, or the thought even of speaking to a journalist just fills them with fear? I don't like how I sound or look. I don't know any journalists. Well, it's not about you. It's about getting your message to your audience so that you can help them. And again, the people listening to you are going to think you're a class for actually even doing it because they'll be sat thinking, I don't want to be doing that. So again, it's just having that wee bit of confidence, taking that one step forward to get that, overcome that barrier just to start. Is it doing like a 10-second story on your Insta stories, 10-second video for your Insta stories. Something as simple as that can just help you get started. Loads of journalists out there, I can help you find them. And they are generally nice people looking for stories, so you can work really collaboratively with them. Again, another key thing is I don't have time for all of this. The juggle is absolutely real, and I have a big long to-do list. Now, I must have about 30 things on my to-do list. And again, we get caught up in the doing of our business. It's really sometimes quite hard to take that step back and just put some time aside for strategy sessions, just to try and, plan even for the next quarter. So again, it's carving out that time to do your PR. It could be 15 minutes a week, could be 15 minutes a day, but I'm talking about small blocks of time, again, that will start to compound once you start to get some traction. Anyway, the outcome of all of these, blockers, if you like, is that no action is taken at all. You don't get the profile or visibility that you deserve, and nobody's going to know about you, and you're going to lose sales to your customers. You're going to lose out on potential funding if you're running a charity. We need to think about the bigger picture here and then make the time for it. And again, if you hang out with me, whether it is through socials, whether it's through the webinars, whatever it happens to be, I'll help you get clarity on where to put your efforts. I'll help you with my step-by-step guidance. I will help you speak with clarity and confidence, and I will use PR with a purpose to get visible. I am all about purpose and how I can make a difference, whether it's to you and your business or something wider in the world. And again, as part of that, there is a really straightforward formula to pitch to the press and increase visibility. So I can help you learn what the press actually wants, which is good stories. And again, that leads to building your credibility. So if you have an article, maybe on an online outlet next week, that's going to start to come up in Google searches. And when people look for your product, business, or service, and your name comes up, like in the media, they're going to think, oh, that's really good. They're because it's not paid for advertising. It's that extra layer of credibility that the journalist has quoted you and has run your story. So hold on tight to that. I can help you post on social media to raise your profile without feeling sick. Again, tried and tested, and there is no dancing required unless you want to. And we do have, a webinar attendee today who's running Wee Boogie. You'll have to do some dancing potentially, or maybe get your clients to do it instead. But again, it's understanding what your audience wants and where to find them. So if they're not TikTok, you don't need to go near there at all. If you're more business to business, you might be better on LinkedIn. and then looking obviously at the different media outlets as well. But again, I can help with all of that. And again, it's really about building your confidence without burning out. Preparing and practicing is so important because once you know what you're talking about, you can talk about it to everybody. It's about getting that maybe a little elevator pitch together so you can then, go into a networking event and confidently say what you do. And that takes practice. I was networking this morning. I say something different every time I go because I'm still testing all these different lines out about what it is that I do and I deliver. But again, it's about building, taking that first step and then the next first step and then the next first step. And then all of a sudden you look behind and think, oh my goodness, I did all that. I'm class and we'll show off. And again, it's really important to make PR work on your terms, which is why I've developed my press framework. And it's just that structured approach to reduce the overwhelm and get results. But I'll tell you more about that later. Now, you could be thinking, I'm not ready for PR. And again, speaking with somebody this morning, I feel, I'm not ready, I haven't got a thing yet, or I've just launched. It's never too early to do PR for your business. So again, it is about your profile and it is about making sure that people know about you rather than, a different product or business. So this is my colleague Ellen. She was launching a podcast, and Ellen and I sat down for an hour or an hour and a half and just worked through my structured approach, step by step by step, to get her a 90-day plan of how to promote her podcast. It's called Policy 360. If you haven't heard that, it is absolutely brilliant if you're into public affairs or engaging with politicians. So really great insights on it. But again, we just sat down, we talked it all through, and I produced then a plan for her to follow. So again, she was able to launch, able to get listeners, able to get more guests on board. It's really great. So I think my point is you're more ready than you think. And if you're still not sure, let's have a chat. I can help you decide on that as well about what your next step might be. I also hear this a lot as well. I've tried PR before and it didn't work. So I would ask you, what actually did you try? Was it just you sent out a press release once and nothing happened? It happens. We do that. We send stuff out. I had a story rejected last week in the media through an online portal. Don't know why, but anyway, that's life. But again, it's understanding what PR actually is and how you can do it consistently and sustainably, and really getting the right story for the media as well. The journalists aren't going to publish that piece about that thing you did last week unless it's really newsworthy. So again, it's helping to understand that. That is not to dismiss your story. It might make a really good blog, it might make a good podcast episode, but if we're talking about media relations, there is some understanding to be had there as well. And again, as my client Naomi, she had a business win that she wanted to celebrate. She wanted a story in the media. And again, I gave her access to one of my trainings and went through the step-by-step approach, and she got the press coverage she deserved. So again, it's not you, it's how it's being approached. And I mean, Naomi wrote her press release and sent it to me because I wanted to have a look at it just to make sure that it was going to work, and it was really good. So she just followed, step by step. Start with this, then you write this, then you quote this, and then you do this, and she had it absolutely nailed. So a wee pause there. We've a few new people have joined. You're very, very welcome. If you just mind keeping your cameras off, because I am going to record this to send out later on. But if you have any questions, hold them for the Q&A. And if you want to drop in the chat what it is you do or any, links to your social handles, please do that. So what's missing when it comes to your visibility? You're going to hear me talk about plans an awful lot. I do love a plan. Clarity in what you're saying is important. And again, that confidence to take action, that confidence, to do your social media better is important. That confidence to pick up the phone to that journalist. So if you've no plan in place, fail to plan to fail. I don't need to tell you that. Nobody will know about you. Your competitors will be better known. We don't want that at all. But even if it's just a plan on the page to map things out, get the visual on them is really, really helpful. I have a plan here for myself. It's 3 pages long because the spacing's quite wide, and that's just what I'm going to do in the next quarter. But again, it gets it all down. I might decide halfway through that was a really stupid idea to do, but at least I have it and I've been working towards it. I've been trying and testing it, and I can then make those adjustments. Not clear on what you're saying, nobody will hear you. And when I say that, think about how you scroll through social. Think about all those emails that come into your inbox that you've signed up to. I sign up to everything. Anyway, Nobody will hear you. Nobody will see you. Nobody will understand what you're trying to do because they're so busy just trying to get through the overwhelm that is their inbox or their social media feeds. It won't be clear what you do, and your customers then won't know about you. So, getting that absolute clarity on your messaging is really, really important. How you can help people, what difference will you make to them? How do you attract their attention to stop the scroll? And that also applies when you're doing press releases for journalists as well. It's what's your headline that is going to think, oh, that could be a potentially good story. Oh, look, that business has created, 10 jobs in my local area. I want to know more about that. So again, we need to get that clarity on what it is that you want to say. And again, lacking confidence, take action. Oh, what will people say? I'm not good enough. You are absolutely good enough. You're here because you're running a business or you're part of a really great organization. You are absolutely good enough to tell your story, especially if you're running your own business. Like if you're not going to tell people what you do, then who is, unless you have an absolutely mega advertising budget and somebody to help you out with that. So, yeah, it's really important to me that I give people the confidence to do what it is that they need to be doing. So, why am I telling you all of this? Well, I want to help you succeed in whatever it is you're choosing to do in your business. So, again, in terms of barriers to that, have you ever thought, what if I mess up? Or what if no one wants to hear what I say? Or what if people laugh at me? Or that showing off thing again? Or what if? And these what ifs go through your head. They go through mine as well. What if nobody turns up to my webinar today? I'm so relieved when the first person signs into that waiting room. I am not going to lie. So but even if nobody turns up, I'm still going to record this. I'm still going to add value. I'm still going to send it out, and somebody will watch it. And hopefully, then we will have a conversation about their PR approach, or they're going to send me some questions and we're going to have a wee bit of crack. But again, let's turn those what ifs around. What if we work together to get that PR plan in place, or get clear on what you're saying, or take action? What if you succeeded? What if somebody needed to hear what you have to say, or you took that action to raise your profile, or you inspired someone to take action? What if? So I am really keen, and this is actually one of my modules in press. I'm spoiling a bit later on, but again, it's overcoming those what ifs. So I would encourage you to write them all down. What if I tripped going up on stage? What if I dropped my bottle of water over the lectern? What are those barriers in your mind? And then turn them all around. Well, what if I got on that stage and told my story and really helped somebody? What if I got on socials and did an Instagram story and said something and somebody responded back saying, I really needed to hear that today. So think about that. We can turn those what ifs around and take that next step forward. And again, just in terms of other clients I've worked with, Jenny, she and I worked one-to-one to help her raise her own personal profile. She's now moved roles. She was looking to do that because her contract was coming to an end. So that was just lovely to see her succeed as well. And again, I worked one-to-one with this lady Serena, again helping coach her through an assignment she was doing. She had a real crisis of confidence, but we got that sorted, no problem. And again, this is from my colleague Nuala. She's all about the planning as well. So she comes to me with ideas, and I just say we're going to get a plan for this, and we pull a plan together. And then the event went absolutely brilliantly. So these testimonials are all on my LinkedIn. Actually, LinkedIn testimonials disappeared last week for a bit, but they're back now. So if you want to read any more of those, please feel free to do so. Anyway, I'm going to bring it all together now, and I'm going to give you 3 steps that you can take without feeling like a show off. But I do want you to show off. But let's overcome that reticence. Who does she think she is to be saying all that? Let's overcome that. So we need to solve these challenges. Where to start, or I'm overwhelmed, or I'm making it up as we go along. So these are 3 things that you could potentially do today, this afternoon, to take action for your business. So first of all, plan your visibility goal. Most people skip straight to doing PR, sending out a press release, whacking up a few socials, and then wondering, how do I know if this is going to work? And if when I've done PR in the past, we set KPIs, we set objectives, so we always have something to measure back so you know that you've been successful. So again, today you could set one clear goal for your visibility, be it for yourself or your business. But what I want you to do is align it to your business goal. Don't just set it because I thought it was a good idea. What do you want to achieve from your business? Do you want more sales, or do you want to be best known for doing this? Do you want to deliver the best service? What is your business goal, even for the next quarter? And set a PR goal aligned to that. So if you want to be a thought leader in something, um, think of a PR goal that you can do for that. So by Christmas, I will have secured two podcasts and one piece of media coverage on, aligned to thought leadership in my area of expertise. It's as simple as that. So again, it could be writing a press release to pitch it to your local media ahead of a business launch, whatever it happens to be. But what are you trying to achieve as a business? Set a communications goal aligned to that. And then you just have to do it. Again, there's no secret to that. You just have to write the press release and send it out. If you need templates or anything, give me a wee shout. Engaging is really important as well. And again, people are quite apprehensive when it comes to journalism sometimes, but again, there's a lot of really good, decent journalists out there who they're trying to tell stories. And it's really important to find out what is your audience reading or listening to. So your audience is not the whole world. We have many different businesses on this call today, and you all have different audiences. So the networking audience is very different to what the wee boogie audience potentially is. For example, we have a research company on the call today, so they have a different business to business target audience, which is different to my target audience. And that is absolutely fine. So you need to understand that. And then you want to understand where are they getting their news from? What podcasts are they listening to? What books are they reading to? Start to understand that. And then aligned to that, it's research relevant journalists. So again, if you have a story about sustainability or the environment, you're not going to contact the political journalist. You're going to go for the environment correspondent. If you have a really good business story, you're going to go for a business journalist. Now, a lot of journalists are generalists, and obviously magazines have different angles as well. But my point is, get copies of the media outlets, listen to the podcast, listen to the news bulletins, get to know the types and styles of stories that they're running, and do your research. You can find journalists on social media. You can find their names attached to the stories. You'll find their contact details potentially on the media outlet. So connect and engage with them. Send them a LinkedIn DM or connection request. And when they connect, just go, hello, great to be connected with you. You don't have to pitch there and then, but you start to build up those contacts and you start to know where you're able to find them. Likewise, you might have a spreadsheet. You might build up your own media database, of just, who's in the local, Belfast Telegraph relevant journalists, or maybe the Times relevant journalists, wherever you happen to be. But you can start to build up a database like that as well, and know this person writes stories on this, and this is their email address, and this is my potential pitch to them. So you can start to do that as well. But yeah, get to know them. Oh, just do it. So again, is that something you could do this afternoon? Maybe spend 10 minutes, cup of tea and a magazine, like what could be better? And just that's your research for the afternoon and just understand the styles of stories that this outlet is doing. And again, telling your story, I can tell you now that your story is brilliant. I hear that as well. Oh, I've got really nothing to say. And then I hear why people have started their business, or I hear why people are working for a particular organization that's making a change in the world. And it's just like, whoa, this is brilliant. So again, identify, a relatable human angle from your business journey that really just connects with your audience. You're here to help people. Um, let's tell that story. So, what inspires you? Who have you helped? Your story is what makes you extraordinary, and your audience needs to hear it. They're waiting to hear it. I mean, I spoke to somebody yesterday. They founded a skincare brand, and again, the story of why they've done that is phenomenal. And again, I can see where that will lead. It will lead to, you know the Good Morning Sofa. It will lead to great media coverage because it's such a powerful story for them. So don't sit there thinking, oh, I don't have anything to say. You absolutely do. And if you want a 15-minute chat to pull those out, happy to do that as well, because I love hearing what people are doing. And again, you just do that. So you can make a note this afternoon of just to write down, who did I help last week? How many children in care did we look after last year? And then start to think of the angle around that you could then pitch to a journalist. Or maybe you have a product that could be aligned to Christmas. Getting a wee bit late for Christmas pitches, to be honest, but you have your product that would align to Valentine's Day, have your product that could align to Mother's Day. Think of all those little opportunities that are out there and then prepare your pitch for that. Tell your story. Um, I have been using this approach for years, so I know that it works. So my last client was the Climate Coalition for Great Big Green Week, and we wanted to make that mainstream. We wanted to work out with the climate and nature bubble. So I did what I've told you to do. I identified journalists, I engaged with them, I set the goal, obviously first, and I told the story of those taking part. I was targeting national press, and we exceeded all expectations. We ended up with 1.6 million people swapping together for good during Great Big Green Week. And media wise, we had a reach in excess of 60.7 million. I say in excess because the 14 ITV segments, I couldn't get the reach for them. But we did 510 news articles in total and 32 radio broadcasts. Now, some of those I led on the ITV, I led on Women's Weekly. We had a piece in that. Again, I pitched through LinkedIn to Women's Weekly. We had a letter to the editor in Horse and Hound. Letters to the editors are brilliant. And we had a piece in Waitrose Weekend magazine, not where you would expect to see the stories that I was pitching. And again, I created templates, I created media invitations for the groups that were running events through Great Big Green Week as well, Great Big Green Week as well, and they did some local media on that. But it was brilliant. It exceeded expectations through that very simple approach of plan, engage, and tell the story. We integrated the socials, so that's a wee bit small, but the social views and reach shot up as well. So everything was really neatly aligned. So these three actions are key to raising your profile and are part of my press program. So I'm going to tell you about this, and then we're going to come on to our Q&A. And I have developed this success path to take you step by step through how to raise your profile. So whether you're an individual entrepreneur or part of a business, these principles will apply to everybody. And planning is about overcoming your visibility barriers and setting your PR goals. We've talked about that a wee bit today. Do you know, what if? What if I fail? What if I succeed? So again, that's what module 1 covers. Module 2 is about mapping out your PR goals for your business. And then we move on to creating your personalized press roadmap. And within this, I have little short video teachings. It's all accessible in the hub, which I'll show you in a wee minute. But again, everything is mapped out and broken down into really short. It's not hour-long sessions, absolutely not. It's really easy to follow step-by-step guidance. Again, when it comes to reach, understanding your audiences and how to reach them, this is so fundamental. Again, your audience is not the whole world. It is very unique and specific to you. So it's important that we get really crystal clear on that and understand how we can reach them and then create content that resonates with them. So if you're really nervous about socials, because we've done the planning, because we have done, we know who we're targeting, because we know what our messaging is, it's easier then to take that step to create the content that they're going to want to see. So it might be videos or it might not be. It's all up for discussion depending on who your audience actually is. And again, in terms of building relationships, again, it's how to start showing up on purpose to engage with your audience, how to build relationships with the media, and then how to nurture your audience as well. You can't just be a one-hit wonder. It's how do you engage on a regular basis? Do you do e-newsletters, for example? If you're looking for donors, what's your donor journey? How do you tell them how brilliant their donations have been for your business? Similar with funders, similar, depends who your audience is, but we've already previously mapped that out and everything then gets tailored to that. And again, building relationships with the media is important as well. And that is about you being a trustworthy source. So if you've done a press release and the journalist has called, you go, I want to run this story. You go, yes. You don't go, well, actually, I'm going on holiday for a week. Could you ring me on Thursday fortnight? That is just not going to wash, you're not going to get called again. Highly unlikely you're going to get called again. So you want to build those ongoing relationships to the point where then when you do have a story or another story, you can pick up the phone to that journalist and say, look, are you interested in this? Can I send you some information? Telling your story is really important. Again, what is it you're trying to say? Can you say it in a sentence? Or is it longer or is it shorter? And how do you create that media toolkit? So when the journalist rings you up, you get, yep, here you go. Or maybe you're running an event and you have everything together in one place and you can then start to send that out to the media or to influencers or to podcast hosts, whatever it happens to be. And again, I'm all about the confidence piece. Once you understand your story, how do you share it with confidence? So how do we practice? How do we prepare? If you're going on a radio broadcast, this afternoon, have you got your notes in front of you? Have you spoken out loud what you're going to say? All those things are really, really important. And that is what I take you through. And again, stepping into the spotlight, getting the recognition, you absolutely deserve it. You need to show off and really shine. So again, how do we secure your first feature or talk or visibility? When I have people in my press membership, they haven't even got to this bit, they've already secured their first piece of press content. Again, how do you stay visible and credible, and how do you lead with that authority? How do you position yourself as a thought leader? What steps do you need to take for that? So again, if you feel any of these, maybe you're feeling less sick now that I have broken down how PR actually works. Maybe you want to stop making up as you go along. Maybe it's time you showed off how good you are. Or if you want to make that time, take one action a day. Press is absolutely perfect for you for that. To get your plan in place, get clear on what you're saying, and take the action. So just to explain how it works, it's step by step working with me group training that gives you the confidence and the visibility to get the profile you deserve. So again, I take you through that roadmap. Um, I've got all the pitch ready PR assets you could ever want. Like we did a session a couple of weeks ago on podcasting. So I've shared my podcast resume. I have shared the emails that I have sent to podcasters to pitch and get onto the podcasts. So anything you need is absolutely there. And again, it just saves time and effort. You're not starting from scratch every single time. It's absolutely bespoke. We have a weekly call. It's an accountability call. So what we're doing is either there's a bit of teaching within it, or people are actually working on writing their press release live, and then I can give the feedback. So that happens on a weekly basis. And again, there's a structured approach through the press framework and a private community for accountability and peer learning. And I'll show you a bit about that in a minute. It's built on membership.io, so it's a really easily accessible hub. There's no Facebook groups. And again, it's just so easy and straightforward to use. So if you want to start to work with me, I started £249 for the one-to-one strategy call, but press is £55 per month. There's a 12-month commitment because PR takes a lot of time. You need to build up your credibility, build up your reputation. But what I do is then I work with you to plan your action to reach your audiences, engage and build relationships, tell your story, and just get that recognition that you absolutely deserve for £55 per month. So that's the hub, all the tools, weekly one-to-many call with me on a Monday, and it's really easy to sign up through that QR code if anybody is interested in that. And just to break that down before we come on to the Q&A, it's, £1.83 per day. Like, who stops and gets a wee cup of coffee at the coffee shop on a daily basis? I don't. I drink a lot of tea, I have to say, but it is less than your daily cup of coffee. I have seen PR courses out there for £2,000 that only last 6 weeks. But what I want to do is build that sustainability in your approach for the future. So I want to price it for the longer term, if that makes sense. I don't want you just to do something and then it drops off a cliff edge and there's nothing after 6 weeks. To get an agency to write your press release, I have seen it priced at £650, not including sending it. And again, half-day training courses, I would start those from £950 on if you wanted me to come into your organisation to do some training. Obviously, if you're a charity, I would look at that, but and it's not just the half day, it's all the prep that has to go into that. And again, PR support rates can start at £75 an hour. So I'm just trying to show you the value of £55 a month to access me and all the tools and the process and the structure and the templates. That's really going to improve how you do your PR. So this is the community hub, which I absolutely love. Again, all the videos are hosted here. The recordings from the Monday calls are hosted in here. And it's just, you just log in. There's a discussion thread. It's all private. It's only the people who are in this. So yeah, it's just a really, really good option to host it. And in terms of a bonus, if you are willing to sign up, or maybe you want to have a chat with me about it later on today or tomorrow, if you join by midnight on next Tuesday, I would love to work with you to plan out your 90-day PR plan through a one-to-one call. And it's really just to give you real clear action to take, tailored on what it is you want to achieve as a business, how to prioritize your visibility opportunities, and just give you that fast track start to success. And again, I've done this with my founder members. And again, this is the feedback I'm getting from that one-to-one call. They can see really clearly what they need to do. And it's about focusing on one thing at a time. So that's been really, really important to them. And like I said, my the members are already getting, press coverage. Helen Day today, she was on Radio Leeds today, this morning, so I need to go and find out how that went for her. But again, we had a conversation a couple of weeks ago. She told me what she was doing. I said, well, you need to pitch X, Y, and Z, and she's done it. And then it's brilliant. She's on the airwaves. Gail as well has set up a new business network in Northern Ireland. But again, we had a short conversation. She went out and pitched. She got the coverage she deserved and more from it. She ended up on a podcast, or that's pending, and she ended up judging for some local awards. So that is press. Thank you for listening about that. We're going to come on to the Q&A now. But, it really just is that structured process for you to follow, advice and guidance the whole way through from me. And I will bring in the future, PR masterclasses with other speakers as well. So maybe something very focused on social media or advertising or, whatever it is that the members tell me that they need, I will facilitate that. Any tool and template you will ever need, I will have it for you, because I've been doing this for so long. And again, the private hub and a strategy session is available for you right now. So thank you for that. Anyway, right, I will leave that up. I'm going to try and stop the recording. There's things in the chat, so I'm going to look at that, and then we will do